Bazooka Nation. It's a fun one. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know how many episodes we've done, 3,000, 4,000. But last week I had the pleasure, and not even knowing what I was getting into, of jumping onto a PWCC premiere recap with my man Cajun Cardboard here, who's joining me today. And wow, it was a whirlwind episode, but wow, did we get a lot of views on that. And imagine if we expanded it outside of basketball cards.
No kidding. No, I get complaints like, why don't you talk about soccer and baseball and football? And I was like, I don't know shit about it. That's why.
Well, listen, let's talk a little bit about soccer and baseball and football today. I got three topics I wanted to jump on with you here today. One, I want to talk to you about the World Cup because I know you're watching it, and I'm learning soccer. I'm enjoying it. I have some questions about it. I have some points I would say is a little interesting. The second thing is you did this fun little, survey topic about red pill, blue pill, what would you do with your cards if they stay the same value? We could talk, I'll let you explain it and we could talk through that. And then I have a third one, a sneaky one. We'll keep this, manageable. We're not going to be, 3-hour, marathon here. We'll just keep it to 3 topics. So first, World Cup. What have you seen? What is surprising you about it? And I know, even though you're the basketball card guru, you did start buying some soccer cards. Has anything you've seen made you feel good about your purchases? Want to go out and buy other purchases? Talk to me. Give me your recap of the first couple of days.
2 questions. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously Germany just lost. So we're filming this, minutes after Germany went down. Day 2, Argentina went down, and that was huge, right? I mean, there's a lot of big Messi collectors out there, and that's, the one thing that the box that's not checked on the Messi resume is, the World Cup, right? So we were hoping for a really good feel-good story for Messi on the World Cup. Could he play in another one? I don't know. I don't know if he could play 4 years from now. Maybe.
I mean, he could.
He could. That would be 6, right? I think this is 5. That would be 6. That would be a nice box to check on your resume, right? Argentina losing, Germany losing, the U.S. shit the bed, for lack of a better word, in the second half. Right when they started, Wales started pressing us instead of sitting back and parking the bus. U.S. just didn't have the juice. It looked to me like they looked really fatigued in the second half. That U.S. game has been highly scrutinized. I don't know how much you watch, but I know Gio Reyna is a really, really good young American player that has to be on the field at some point in that game. He's just too good. I mean, I think he's probably our 3rd or 4th best player on our national team, and he just didn't see the field. And so unless there's some kind of injury or something wrong with him, which I have not heard about, I don't understand him not getting on the field for the USA in that game at some point, especially after it was tied. So,
I mean, is it more because at that point you want better defenders out there, and Reyna is somebody who's going to run, stretch the field, and you're saying the best defense is a good offense. Keep them on the defensive, and then
Well, they put other players on that weren't defenders. They put Brendan Aronson on, and he's good too. Don't get me wrong, but Brendan Aronson,
Andrew Clinton's the best player on the team.
Yeah, I mean, Reyna's one of the best players in our country, man. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's something out there that I don't know. Maybe there's something behind the scenes.
I never liked the coach's son.
But
I was never a fan
it was just disappointing. It was like kissing your sister, man. I mean, 1-1 when you were up 1-0 and literally dominating possession, and we were like, man, look, we never do this against European teams. And suddenly our team looks like we can possess the ball, and they've got to chase us. And then the second half, the script was flipped completely. So it's just, I don't know. I mean, it's fine. I mean, we're still in it, but hell, man, we got some work to do against England on Friday. And
so was it a coaching issue? Because I mean, I watched the whole game, and I also watched. I mean, I was surprised. I mean, the U.S. looked like the better team throughout, and to have them tie it up like that at the end is is kind of crappy. But it could be worse. They could have scored 2 goals late, like Japan did against Germany, and Germany looked like the better team. But what I'll tell you is halftime coaching adjustments clearly, because Japan was playing a different game there. And what I've seen so far, especially in the games where there's upsets, are 2 things. Number one, I hate the penalty kick. I can't stand that unless you Lewandowski. I don't know what the hell he was doing, but I mean, the penalty kick, the goal for a penalty kick shouldn't be worth as much. Or they got to back him up and kick it further or something, because look, the U.S., we had a real goal, and the team from Wales didn't, right? And it was they weren't shooting. It wasn't like a takedown 5 feet away from the goal. The guy wasn't even facing the net when he got tackled. Germany had a penalty kick today that was, I mean, questionable. The guy also was facing away from the net. He wasn't in the process of shooting. He was going to make a pass, and the goalie came out and kind of hit him. What I've noticed besides that, and I don't know, there's nothing to change. I mean, soccer's been this way for a long time. But what I've noticed about it is the teams that are upsetting, or they don't have a lot of chances, but they are taking advantage of those chances. Like
That's
Japan, it's
soccer.
like all of a sudden, boom, a runner, go ahead, boom, take
Yeah.
it all the way you can go. Don't mess around with it. Don't pity pat, pity pat, pity pat. It's just take it, go, take your shot on goal. Saudi
Yeah.
Arabia, same thing.
Yeah. But both those games, Cage 1-0 at the half with the heavy favorites, 1-0 at the half, and then bang bang, right? Two short, quick succession goals for Saudi Arabia, and then today for Japan. So very similar games, to be quite honest with you. And then at the end, favorites are pounding, and just can't break through. And that's soccer, man. I mean, if you've got a 1-goal lead, you can literally park the bus, even inferior teams, and protect that lead. It's just different. It's different than other sports where, hell, I'm an NBA guy. In the NBA, 12 points can disappear in 45 seconds now,
Yeah.
with as many threes and dunks
Everybody
as
makes a
want.
run, right? That's
Yeah,
what they
I
say.
mean, so.
So the upsets are surprising. Anything card relevance? I mean, obviously we talk about Messi. You have any? I mean, you've started to really pay attention to soccer. Any chime in on the Ronaldo situation? How that impacts?
Yeah.
I mean, Portugal's a big favorite.
Well, I think I didn't read the whole article, but I thought I saw the headline or something on the ticker. Manchester United and Ronaldo have agreed to mutually part ways. Mm-hmm. So Ronaldo is teamless right now, which is really cool, which is great for him because he was in prison. He and the manager just were not going to see eye to eye, and Ronaldo was throwing tantrums, and the manager was like, "It's my team, not your team," and so it's good to see Ronaldo get out of there because he's chasing history, man. I mean, he's chasing goals. He's trying to keep pace with Messi, regardless of where you stand on that. But I hated to see him waste, what's left of a very small window on Manchester United where he's not even getting in the game. I mean, imagine LeBron going to a team and coming off a bench or something like that, for 20 minutes a game. It'd be miserable, right, for LeBron collectors. So it's good for Ronaldo collectors to get out of there. My soccer money is all in a guy that is not in the World Cup, and you know who that is. So, and I knew that going in, so I put my money into Haaland. That's where most of my soccer money is, and that's a purely an investment move. So I'm on the sidelines. I'm truly enjoying the World Cup with no dogs in this hunt. I mean, other than I want the USA to win, obviously, but as far as players and prospecting and things like that, I'm watching closely to see who looks good, who doesn't. A couple guys I want to watch. I want to see how Gavi and Pedri do for Spain, since they're so young, and this is a big stage for them. And I think they have Costa Rica win today, right? Yeah, is that right? No,
so
yeah. Oh yeah, right after we finish recording, we'll be able to watch that.
There you
so
go. I'll say the name wrong, and you
that?
won't get a lot of attention because Germany lost today, so people aren't going to be scrutinizing the game, and they're not going to be looking at that stuff. But Musiala looked really good, right?
Did he look really good? Yes, he
just
did.
Like a lot of attempts. I mean, a couple of misses, but just pushing the pace, pushing the offense. He looked really good. If I were buying cards just after watching today, that would be the guy. All right, this guy, he's gonna make things happen. He'll find a way to make things happen. Just from today's game.
The tricky thing, Cage, about soccer, and you know this because you collect all sorts of stuff. I'm basketball only. If you said, here's the player to go get, I know right away what cards, what products, what parallels to chase in basketball. I know it. Like, it's just inherent, right? It hasn't changed that much. With soccer, I watched the game today, and let's say I wanted to go buy Musiala. I want to go put 10 grand in Musiala. Man, I would have to start from chapter 1 and figure out what the hell am I supposed to buy? What product, what year, what product, sticker, card, parallel, RPA, autos, what club jersey, international jersey. It's like, and my brain's about to explode trying to figure that out, with De Bruyne and Foden and some of these other guys that I'd like to start, trickle a little bit of money in, while the market's dipped here. It's just tough. It's like an education, and each player is so different because their upbringing is so different. In basketball, you go to high school, for the most part, Americans, you go to high school, you play 1 year of college, you go to the pros, or you just go straight to the G League and you go to the pros. And so where they come from matters so much in soccer. They could have a sticker from when they were playing in, a third division league before they got to the big time. And then they also are going to have a card. And then you also see, just like in baseball, I know you've seen this in baseball, they can have like 3 different years in all their cards say rookie on them. And it's like, what the hell are y'all doing to me? It's already confusing enough. Just, pick one.
Yeah. I mean, it is a barrier to entry for soccer. You can't just say, I'm going to buy the Topps Chrome. And then, of course, now with the expansion of the hobby, you want to buy Kobe, LeBron. All right, there's some stuff out there, but okay, buy the Topps Chrome, right? is Topps Chrome the right one? Is there a Sapphire version? Is there? I mean, like, well,
Thank
what was the
you.
first one that came out? Is it the Bundesliga one? Is it the finest?
Minus UCL, Bundesliga Chrome. There's a million. And look, Cage, this year, 2022 is even trickier. I just busted a whole case of 2022 Prism World Cup purely for fun. I'm not exaggerating to you. I will open a pack. I'll get 7 Rookie Shields cards in one pack. 7. And it's like, well, is it their World Cup rookie or is it really the rookie? I don't know. So you got to do your research and all those. I would take all of the base rookies with the Rookie Shield on there, and I would put them in one of those 2-piece 100 counts.
Mm-hmm.
And I filled up 6 of them.
Wow.
One case.
So it's all rookies. A lot of people. But I mean, I guess part of that is it's rookie season for a lot of these guys, so it counts. The card's in the rookie season. It's a rookie for Panini. It's Panini's first product, so it doesn't matter that he's had 5 cards before. It doesn't matter that he's got a finest card, and it doesn't matter that he's got a Chrome card. This is the first. As long as it's in the same season. Blah blah. You're right, though. It's very tough. Yeah. So moving off from soccer, give a 30-second, 1 minute recount for us that survey, the question you asked folks about, like red pill, blue pill, with the hobby, you name it. Give kind of the details, and then tell me how it ended up, and then we can kind of talk through where we would sit on it.
Yeah, for sure. So I did really, it was an experiment about a thumbnail. I had a really great thumbnail idea. You saw the Matrix, right? And so red pill, blue pill, when Neo gets the option or whatever. And so I did a really cool thumbnail, just a blue pill in one hand, a red pill in the other hand, and I think the caption was "Hobby you need to choose." And so I just created a hypothetical, and the video was just a hypothetical. If I gave you 2 options, either one, you could choose the red pill. I guarantee you your cards 3 years from now will be worth exactly what they're worth today. Your entire collection, penny for penny, every card will stay stagnant and stay exactly the same. Would you take that pill, or would you take the other pill and let it ride and let the market dictate where we're going? All things considered, the overprinting, the fanatics taking over, the players playing up or down, the injury risk, all that stuff. Would you want to, set it in stone right now and then know 3 years from now you're still exactly where you are today? Or would you let it ride with the chance that your cards could go down, Cage? I mean, we've collected for a good bit here, and historically cards have always gone up, and now, they're coming back from that massive crescendo. So the question is, do you think cards will be worth more or less 3 years from now? Generally speaking, I mean, obviously all cards are different, but that was kind of the hypothetical I threw out there. The feedback in the comments, first of all, there was a ton of engagement, right? Because people like to answer open-ended questions like that. And the overwhelming feedback was, let it ride. Everybody thought their stuff was going to be worth more 3 years from now, which I think is a great thing. They may be wrong, but it's a great thing to have optimism in the hobby. Me, I'm always the optimist.
Do you think it's optimism, or do you think it's that, more people in the hobby now are what you would consider more gamblers, and that the hobby has attracted people who are willing to roll the dice and willing to risk some downside for some upside, rather than people who are in here buying something because, wow, I want this. And, to me, it doesn't make a difference what it's worth a year from now, 2 years from now, or 3 years from now. I'm still going to hold it if it's down, or if it's up, or it's the same.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. I mean, clearly the pure collector, if there is such a thing, the pure collector would just keep it static, right? I mean, obviously they keep it static because all they care about is owning the card. They don't care about the money that they could derive from the sale of those cards. And so, that's probably a reflection on the hobby and what percentage of the hobby after the, 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, boom, what percentage of those new entrants into the hobby came into the hobby purely with dollars in their eyes.
I wonder at what percentage that starts to balance the scale out. Like if you change the thumbnail to, we're going to give you 8% return a year, 7% return a year, 25%, increase for 3 years. You know what I mean? Like with compounding the whole deal. Like if you have $1 million collection right now, when we're going to tell you it's worth 1.25 million in 3 years, or $1 million collection, let it ride. It could be worth 3 million. It could be worth 500,000. I wonder how what's the number that it evens the scale at,
That's a good question. I tell you what, the answer to that question would certainly depend on the constituent parts of each collector's collection, right? Because we've seen some cards go in one direction, some cards going in a drastically different direction in a hurry. So that's a big part of it too, is like, what do you hold? What sport are you holding? Or are you holding Pokemon or Magic or entertainer cards, or if you're holding, sports cards, are they all quarterbacks? You have receivers and running backs. Is it all football? Is it all basketball? Is it a little bit of everything? And that's one place where I'm kind of, it cuts both ways. Sometimes I get a little bit jealous, right, of guys like you, because you've got all sorts of different assets from all different demographics within the hobby. And sometimes you even share on the group chat stuff like, first photo. What are those things called? First what photos?
Type 1. Yeah, type 1.
Type 1 photos. Type 1 photos. And then cut autos of all-time historic greats and random sports.
Jackie Robinson yesterday.
Yeah, and I'm literally 99% basketball with a little bit of soccer, a little tiny sliver of soccer. So I've always kind of tried to stay in my lane. It doesn't always work out,
Yeah, man, but basketball's been the one that's the runner for the last. So sometimes when you diversify, you sort of kill your gains too. If you're in the right thing at the right time, you don't want to be diversified. You don't you want to have your stuff that runs and that's outside gains there. I guess my commentary on that would be, do you think that also means that the people who are in it are willing to take a loss? They just want to be in the game. They want to make their bets now on their guys and on their cards, and they're willing to take a loss. The interesting part, not just what they're made up of, is I wonder how many people who answer the survey, like the biggest, I think, variable is when they got in, how much they got in for. You know what I mean? Because some of those people might already be down, and they're like, the hell with it. I might as well let it ride. I mean, hopefully it just goes back to even,
Yeah. No, exactly. We got to keep that in mind because you and I predated the explosion. So we've got so much cushion on so many cards. The PSA 10 Jordan's a great example. It's like, it's all in the eye of the beholder, man. If you got in, I think earlier than I did, probably even. So, it's just like, I'm just going to ride. That card matters so much to me. I don't give a damn what's going on with it. I stopped paying attention to that crap, to be quite honest with you. At first, I worried about it because I was feeling anxiety of like, man, I need to sell this stupid thing. I need to sell this. Like, I really need to sell this. I've said that 15 times. And now I'm like, of course I'm not selling. I've seen where it's gone. Maybe one day it'll go back there, but it matters so much to me. I just ride it out, man. And again, to be fair to everybody out there, not everybody has that luxury. Some people got in 2021 are just getting crushed and they need that cash, man. And so that's why we're seeing stuff come to market. I don't know if these people really want to sell these assets at a loss, but some people don't have that option. And so,
listen, it begs the question, right? People came in and now people are coming in and selling at losses, right? And people are coming in and just selling to try to get their money out, get some liquidity, you name it. What made people run into the market was seeing other people win. That's just what happens, seeing the money, seeing the money that was in here. As people leave and they're the ones talking to people about, oh God, I'm leaving because I just lost money in these cards. I just lost money in LeBron. I bought this LeBron for 30 grand and it's worth 7 now. You know what I mean? As that happens. And more importantly, if they see a thumbnail with a red pill and a blue pill and it's Cajun Morpheus, right? And he's out there offering pills to people, which is dangerous. Don't offer the pills to kids. But they see that kind of thumbnail and the resounding response is, well, is it risk it or let's just stay even? Like, stay even is the positive. Like, let's stay even. Don't risk the losses. Like, stay even. Does it get to a point where the people who are thinking about coming into the hobby, who came in the last couple of years and said, I'm coming into this because it's an alternate asset class. I'm coming into this because it's something I can put money in and invest it in here rather than putting it in gold or putting it in other traditional investments. Do those people turn around and say, well, why would I want to just, be lucky to break even after 3 years when I could just go buy stock in X and get a dividend of 5% a year guaranteed, basically, or I can go put it in, I can put it in a CD now paying 4%, I'm obviously 4%, no one in the hobby wants 4%, but it's better than flat, it's better than nothing. Does the hobby lose people because the recency bias is I can take my money now and have guaranteed returns, where those guaranteed returns weren't there when the hobby was an alternative. And instead, you look at the hobby for the last couple of years and it's like, shit, people are losing their shirt if they got in the last couple of years. So it's just, I love that topic. I love what you're doing.
It's interesting. I like your idea of stair stepping it. What about 10%? What if I promised you a 10%? Right. You know what I mean? So as soon as you get that number to the historical return on the market, you're probably going to get a lot of yeses.
How many people are just, okay, guaranteed 25% done, you take it. So I got another one for you, right? I like to talk about one of our most listened to episodes on this, and then we can just, I'll let you go with this, right? And you can get into it if you want. You can get detailed into it if you want. I hope I'm not like blowing up your spot or the whole deal. But I think it's a valuable, teaching point for the folks who watch this stuff. Earlier this year, it has to be 6, 7, 8 months ago, I came on and talked about how it's okay to sell for a loss. I'm pretty sure that was like the title of the episode. And believe it or not, I was selling like Michael Jordan cards. You know what I mean? I was selling like, it was a lot of cards, but some of them were Michael Jordan cards. I talked about like the Scoring Kings card that I bought for like, I don't know if I paid 15 or 18 for it. I sold it for like 11 or 12. And, I bought the wrong Jordan PMG, the retro late, the Skybox one PMG, where I think I paid like, 12 and I sold it for like 8, and I was taking these losses. And, I think people like to hear that because I think people, they think they can't do that. They think they can't sell at a loss. It's this, that I'm in it for this much, so I can't take less. But what I was thinking at the time was I take that money out. The stuff that I have is not the only stuff that's down, right? If I take this out, one, I think things go down a little further and I have a little liquidity left. Or more importantly, I think there are other things that are also coming down, maybe that have gone down more, that I can slide my now liquid capital into. And I think it's important for people to hear that, especially when stuff's kind of going down and people see these things going in the market all the time. So I guess my question for you is, are you selling stuff, right? And if you are selling stuff, one of the things that I mentioned to Andrew, because Andrew's like, oh man, people are selling now, they may get wrecked, right? People are selling now, there's so much stuff coming to market, they may get wrecked on their sales. And I said, well, not necessarily. And please walk through this with me if you don't mind. I said, it depends on what someone's planning on doing with that money. So they may be getting wrecked, right? Because they let's just say spent 10 grand on cards. And if they sell them now, they're only getting 6,500. But if they have a plan with that 6,500 that they think is going to turn around better, like there are bargains coming out now, cards that when they put their 10 in cost 12 or 15, and they can now get those by deploying that 6,500 in capital, and they rather have that it actually winds up being like, instead of spending 10, I bought the card for 50. You're redeploying the capital, and at the same time, we talk about consolidation, and it's like reconfiguring your collection. Sometimes, when the markets are good, we go out there and we start investing in other things. We start researching. We start spreading our money a little thin. Like I have some Game of Thrones autos. Like I don't need that shit. You know what I mean? I have some, some Marvel here. I got some this, that. And all right, well, if I sell this stuff now, all right, I'm selling it low, but everything else is low, and it allows me to turn that around and put my money in something. So is that something you're also seeing, doing, like, because I think it's important people to hear that
on a large scale? Yes.
Right.
So I've sold more this year than any year of my life, and it's not even close. By magnitudes of 10, probably more sales this year than any other year, and I've reinvested every dollar of it. So for me, I'm moving money from A to B. It'd be no different than if somebody came to me and said, hey, so for instance, I moved, I think I told you, about 400 cards into the PWCC weekly auctions over the next 2 or 3 weeks. 400 different slabs from my vault, click, move them over. I'm probably, I don't know if I'm going to take a loss, but I'm certainly selling them at way below the peak, right? As you can imagine, with 400 cards, 390 of them are probably below where I should have sold them. But I'm going to take the money and go buy Jordans. Yes, Jordans are down too. Like rare 90s Jordans inserts and parallels are down, some of them significantly. So I'm essentially just trading these slabs for these much fewer slabs and buying into a player that I really, really care about, that I want to hold long-term, in Michael Jordan. So it's really that simple. And LeBron. LeBron and Jordan are down. Kobe's down. It's not just, Porzingis and Kawhi Leonard, everybody's down. Hell, Giannis is down. He's playing like an MVP. Doncic is down. He's playing like an MVP. So the way I look at it is I'm just moving money from A to B. I'm moving it from something that I liked and I bought Rolf, graded, and then now I'm flipping it. Did I miss the window? Yeah, I missed the window. I could have made a freaking fortune. I'm going to sell these for significantly less than they were at peak, but I'm going to put the money straight back into a card that has also dropped down commensurate with those prices. So if Jordan's down 40% and all these Jaylen Browns and De'Aaron Foxes and Jamal Murrays and Michael Porters are down 40%, well, I'm just trading those 4 guys for Jordan. So I'm hedging risk and getting an asset that I care a lot more about than a bunch of silvers and greens and blues and base PSA 10s of those other guys. That's the way I look at it.
I look at it like we missed the windows, right? The window's closing. and maybe we're not going to be able to jump through it, and capitalize as much as we can. We're still going to get through, but at the same time, another window in the house is opening, a window that wouldn't have been open at the time we put our money in these cards, right? So you have 400 cards. Again, for hypotheticals, let's just say those 400 cards are worth 20 grand, right? Now they were worth 20 grand at the peak. Now they're worth 12. Well, let's say there's a Jordan card that you could buy that you couldn't have bought for that 20 grand. It was like 25 or 27. Well, you can now put that 12 that you're going to get into the Jordan that's also lower, maybe even priced down to a point where you can actually get it for what you wouldn't have been able to buy it at before. So I mean, it really is kind of like rebalancing, and also it helps you consolidate your collection. It helps you focus on the cards that you actually want, because then you're the guy who's on the other side of that red and blue pill, right? And it's like, all right, if I buy this Jordan card, I'm buying it at a price where it's so low that I'll sign up for it. It doesn't have to go up in the next 3 years. I'm just happy to have it.
100%. I mean? Yeah. No. It really, we're human beings by nature, don't like to lose, right?
Yep,
we're very competitive.
I hate it.
I'm super competitive. I'm super stubborn. And I do, part of me does. I am going to ride this out with a lot of the cards just because I don't want to take a huge loss. But the ones that truly, literally, I only own for 100% investment purposes, those cards mean nothing to me. They're just like stock certificates. And, if I can move it from one company to another company, both are down 40%. But I believe in this company today, this very day, November 23rd, I believe in Michael Jordan more than I believe in Michael Porter Jr., then why in the hell wouldn't I just move my money over if they're both down the exact same percentage? It doesn't make any sense, I mean, if you believe more in Microsoft than you believe in Tesla, you would take all your Tesla money and move it to Microsoft. So why wouldn't you do the same? I mean, diversification is the only, potential argument for, keeping your money spread. Well, don't buy Jordan. Go buy Olajuwon and Tim Duncan and David Robinson.
Diversify it within Jordan.
Yeah, diversify it in stuff you love.
80s, some 90s. You could buy some.
I like Michael Porter Jr. I like De'Aaron Fox. I like Jaylen Brown, but I love Michael Jordan, and I love collecting Damian Lillard, and I love Giannis. So why wouldn't I? On November 23rd, that's what I care more about, and I think those guys are going to be more valuable long term than these guys because there's less risk.
I only have one question for you, and we could wrap it up if you like. But I never got a clean, straightforward answer on this from you. I've watched a lot of your content. We've talked a bunch. We've even done some episodes together. I never know whether you're lukewarm on him or you really like him, you don't like him, you name it. But how do you feel about Michael Jordan? Just kidding, folks. Listen.
Sorry. Look, Cage, sometimes I preface my videos with, hey, look, I just want to be clear. I own this card. I'm going to hype the shit out of it, right? So how could you be mad at me? I even hype the Jordan cards I don't have that I need to buy. So you can't be mad at me. It can't be a pump and dump if I never dump the Jordans. So I figure I'm just pumped.
Right. You're not pumping it because you don't even own it yet. You're pumping it against yourself. You're basically pumping the price up to a point where it's going to cost you more to get it.
It is.
Yeah, that's funny stuff. Do you also like Jordan autographs, or are you more of like 90s inserts and that you don't have to see?
No autographs, no Carolina jerseys, no non-playing year stuff. I just had to draw the line somewhere. Like in the Jordan world, and it's a microcosm, man. It is a world within the hobby. It's nuts. There's so many directions you can go. I did a really good video, 23 different ways you can collect Jordan, right? And so it's like, parallels, inserts, refractors only, PSA 8s only if you want to do it on a budget, raw only if you want to, autographs only, game worn stuff only. I mean, there's a million ways just to collect Michael Jordan. And so I did a video like that, and the reason I did that is because I have focused primarily on 80s and 90s Jordan inserts and parallels, period. I have a little bit of Wizard stuff, Cage, because he was playing those years, not a lot. But I have chosen to bow out of the autograph world because that is another world within a world, and it requires a great deal of expertise, which I do not have, and I'm not really interested in getting into it. I'm just not. I mean, I can appreciate them. I see some of these exquisite patch autographs, and I'm like, God, that's a beautiful card and a very valuable card, and I'm sure it's going to be great long term. But I've still got 750 boxes to check just on inserts and parallels that I haven't checked yet. And so before I move on to stage 2, I need to kind of hyper-focus on stage 1.
Well, I mean, part of it, and again, I said it was the last thing I was joking about the Jordan stuff, but part of it goes back to when you started talking about like soccer. Like if you like Musiala, like I'd have to go back to page one. Like you
Page
know what
one.
you know, and obviously what you collected when you
Yeah.
collected back in the '90s. So the Jordan inserts, that stuff, and you know I was not collecting when like the Jordan autos were out like that. I was, that wasn't part of what I did.
I wouldn't
It was
either.
the dual auto. There's a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff out there. So, I mean, I understand it, and it's difficult. It's difficult to kind of figure out which is the right one.
Yeah.
What's the right. It's. But there are people who swear by them, and there's some cool stuff. I mean, come on, having
Yeah,
like
Paige, there's people that collect only Jordan autos. Like that's
yeah.
all they collect, which is also fascinating, valuable, rewarding financially. I mean, it can check every single box that they can have just as much joy collecting only Jordan autos as I do collecting only Jordan non-autos. I own 2 Jordan autographs, and I just happened to come across those 2 cards that I thought were good investment pieces. I would probably trade those for parallels or inserts that I do not have, because that's really my focus. That's how I collect, inserts, parallels, and high grade, for better or worse. That's kind of what I like to do. So.
Easy stuff. All right, guys, there's an episode. We should do this more often. I don't have to do it every week, but we get to chat about it. I like going through the selling for a loss, because I think people sometimes look at us and are like, all right, these guys, they were in this for a long time. They have their cards. It's early, but we've been buying cards throughout this entire time. I know you, like me, I bought cards at peak. I bought cards, way higher than they are now.
Same.
And sometimes you have to kind of, reconfigure your collection. You have to, sometimes it means taking a loss. Sometimes it means selling for a little lower, especially, in the way the market's been the last year. But the key there, and Brian went through it really well, is to have a plan with that money, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't just sell to sell. And okay, when I get this money for this card, I already know what I'm doing with it. I already know what I'm targeting, because this something else is, one, something I'm more confident in, and 2, something that has also come down commensurate in price. So
here's your title for the pod today. You're not selling for a loss if you're buying for a win. Right. Copyright Cajun Cardboard.
Copyright Cajun Cardboard. Lovely.
That's it.
And that's it. I love it. Take care, everybody. Thanks.
All right. Have a good Thanksgiving.
So thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month, and many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me, and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a P.O. box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is. 9170 Glades Road, number 135 is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com. or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luca Nation.